Okay, now we are going to discuss what is double fertilization and triple fusion. Okay, so this I have drawn the structure of the pistil little more enlarged. Here you are seeing, so this is a stigma, this is a style, this is the ovary part. Inside the ovary I have drawn only one ovule. Inside the ovule you are seeing this many cells. There are 7 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this center is a big cell. We call it as a central cell. So all these cells are having one nucleus, whereas the central cell is having 2 nucleus. These 2 nucleus are called polar nuclei. So in the last one I have not mentioned this about the central cell and polar nuclei. Now we are going to study in detail when we study double fertilization and triple fusion. Now when the pollen grain falls here, it is forming the pollen tube. Pollen tube reach this part. So I told there are 2 male gametes inside. Okay, now it will enter one of the synergids. These 2 are called synergids and the middle one is called as the egg cell or the female gamete. So there are 2 male gametes. So it enters, the pollen tube is actually entering one of the synergid. Then the tip of the pollen tube will burst open and it releases the 2 male gametes here. So it releases the 2 male gametes. One of the male gamete will fuse with the egg. So this one is fusing with the egg. So it fuses here. Okay. So now it forms what is called. Now this cell cannot be called as egg or the male gamete. Now we call it as zygote. And this process is called as syngamy of fertilization. Syngamy, otherwise called fertilization. Okay, so the fusion of first male gamete with the egg is called as syngamy of fertilization. Now there is a second male gamete. So ഇവിടെ ഇങ്ങനെ male gametes release ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് these 2 polar nuclei will fuse together. They fuse together and form a single nucleus. So already there were 2 nuclei and now it has become, so already 2 nuclei ചേർന്നുണ്ടായ ഒരു സംഭവമാണ്. ആദ്യം അത് ഹാപ്ലോയിഡ് ആയിരുന്നു, means had only half the number of chromosomes. അതായത് ഇങ്ങനെ 2 ഹാപ്ലോയിഡ് ന്യൂക്ലിയസ് ആയിരുന്നു ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്, ഹാപ്ലോയിഡ്. ഇവിടെ ഈ അതായത് സെക്കൻഡ് മെയിൽ ഗാമറ്റ് വരുന്ന സമയമാകുമ്പോൾ അതായത് സെക്കൻഡ് മെയിൽ ഗാമറ്റ് ഇവിടെ എത്തി. ഈ എത്തുന്ന സമയത്ത് എന്ത് പറ്റും, ഈ 2 പോളാർ ന്യൂക്ലിയർ ഒരുമിച്ചാവും. We call it as secondary nucleus. And this will fuse with the male gamete. So it fuses with the male gamete like this. So total 3 nuclei has fused together. Which are the 3 nuclei? The 2 polar nuclei and the second male gamete. And this is called as triple fusion. Why it is called triple fusion? Because 3 nuclei has fused. Triple fusion. Now, fertilization in plants is called double fertilization. Why? Because here 2 male gametes are involved in fusion. One male gamete will fuse with the egg and form the zygote. Second male gamete will fuse with the secondary nucleus എന്ന് പറയാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ with the 2 polar nuclei എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം, and forms what is called as PEN, primary endosperm nucleus. PEN. It forms this thing. Okay, so this is why it is called double fertilization. So first it is one of the male gamete fusing with the female gamete forming the zygote, which later becomes the embryo and the baby plant, whereas the second male gamete fuses with the secondary nucleus formed by the fusion of 2 polar nuclei and form what is called as PEN or primary endosperm nucleus. This primary endosperm nucleus is a triploid structure. Means 3 haploid nuclei join ചെയ്തുണ്ടായതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ triploid എന്ന് പറയും. Whereas zygote is a diploid structure. Okay. So now what is the importance of double fertilization in plants? What is happening? By double fertilization, plant is producing a baby, that is the zygote later forms the embryo and the baby plant, plus it also forms primary endosperm nucleus which serves as nourishment for the growing embryo. Embryoക്ക് grow ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള nourishment provide ചെയ്യാനാണ് primary endosperm nucleus form ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഇത് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്ത് അവസാനം ഇത് മൊത്തം നിറയും. അന്നേരം നമ്മൾ അതിനെ endosperm എന്ന് പറയും. So primary endosperm nucleus will form a nutritive or nourishment tissue called as endosperm. ഇത് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് എൻഡോസ്പേം കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു സംഭവമാണ് തേങ്ങ. തേങ്ങയിലെ ആ വൈറ്റ് പാർട്ട് ഈസ് ദ എൻഡോസ്പേം. ആ തേങ്ങയുടെ കണ്ണെന്ന് പറയുന്നതിൽ ഒരു കൊച്ചു കുരുപ്പ് പോലൊരു സംഭവമുണ്ട്, അതാണ് അതിന്റെ എംബ്രിയോ. ബാക്കിയുള്ള വൈറ്റ് പാർട്ട് എല്ലാം അതിന്റെ എൻഡോസ്പേം ആണ്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് double fertilization and triple fusion in plant. So what is triple fusion? The fusion of the second male gamete with the two polar nuclei to form primary endosperm nucleus is called as triple fusion. Is that very clear to you? So this topic is very important.